Welcome back. Our guest tonight is Colin Flaherty. He's a journalist for WorldNet Daily and also the author of White Girl Bleed a Lot. He joins us now via Skype. Thanks for joining us, Colin.
Honor to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your book and what prompted you to write it.
White Girl Bleed a Lot, the return of racial violence to America and how the media ignore it, is about an epidemic of black mob violence all over the country. I wrote it because I kept reading these accounts in newspapers of teenagers blowing off steam or having a little fun. And they kept happening over and over again. Then I saw what they were really doing on YouTube. And what I saw on YouTube, for example, in Philadelphia, I saw 1,000 black people running down the street, pulling people out of cars, going into restaurants, stealing stuff, destroying property. There was an enormous gap between what the newspaper said was happening, what was really happening. I kept asking reporters what was going on. They kept saying, nothing, nothing. That's when I knew I had to write a book about it.
So anything in particular, give us the highlights of the book.
Well, let me see. The one story that surprises everybody is the book documents over 500 cases of black mob violence in over 100 cities, not just the big cities, Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, but how about places like Peoria, Springfield, Illinois? How about Des Moines, Iowa? The Iowa State Fair, 2011, 3 nights in a row, black mobs beat up white people in and out of the fair. They were calling it Beat Whitey Night. So finally, a couple reporters went to the police spokeswoman and said, Lori Loverato said, Lori, what's up with all this? Is this, are black people beating up white people? She said, I don't know why it's happening, but yes, it's happening. She got fired the next day for telling the truth about racial violence. And so multiply the Iowa State Fair times 500, 600, 700, 1,000. And that's what the book is about.
So what do you think this disparity is when we have a particular racial group that's not being portrayed adequately or shown adequately as far as the violence that they inflict?
You know, when I turn on cable TV networks, I see a million explanations for what we're talking about. So it's interesting. The liberals on one hand deny it's happening, but on the other hand, in the same breath, they always explain why it's happening. So in the book, I don't do causes. I don't do solutions. I also don't do apologies. So I know the how it's happening. I keep documenting how, but I don't do the why. Because you know what? I don't know why it's happening.
Well, let me ask you this. We're talking about maybe things being underreported. Have you ever encountered a situation in your investigations of maybe something being trumped up to be a racial attack when maybe it's not? For example, let's say 2 guys are involved in a car accident. One may be white, one may be black. A road rage situation occurs and these guys get in a fist fight, and maybe that's reported as a racial attack instead of a road rage incident. Have you ever encountered anything like that?
Well, when I do encounter over-reporting of racial violence, probably 99 times out of 100, it's misreporting of white violence against a black person. Listen, here's a lot of most of the crimes I talk about do not feature somebody carrying a sign or uttering racial expletives in front of witnesses. That's what happened a couple days ago in Brooklyn. 10 black people beat up a couple of white people in broad daylight, muttering expletives. Most of my stuff is not that convenient. So what I do is I just show this pattern over a long period of time, how black mob violence exists exponentially out of proportion. And so every incident by itself is really insignificant, but once you string them together, that's when there's only one conclusion, which is there's something strange going on, and I'm not 100% sure what it is.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, yeah. There's the incidents are. Look at Friday. Friday at Howard University, the oldest and most venerated black college in America. They had a race riot at Howard University on Friday. When I say a race riot, that means everybody involved was black. There was a concert. The star of the concert was 2 Chainz. For people who aren't fuddy-duddies like me, I'll remind people 2 Chainz' biggest hit is "Start a Riot." Last time I looked, it had 12 million hits on YouTube. Probably has 13 now. So 2 Chainz is on stage at Howard University at homecoming. A bunch of people. The concert was sold out. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people are outside trying to get in. couldn't get in. They started hopping the fence. They started breaking the fence down, fighting with police. 8 or 9 people went to the hospital, including 2 cops, 1 broken leg. Question, did you hear about that?
Not till this morning. I was actually researching our interview for today, but that's my first time hearing about it. It's very, I will agree with you there that it was very underreported in the news.
A couple days before that, same thing happened at Virginia State University. Homecoming, 200 to 300 black people rampaging through the university, beating people up. Somebody got stabbed. 1 person got arrested. This is a very, very long list.
But when you say a race riot, was either one of those situations where the people targeted any specific racial group, or was it just happen to be a large amount of black people or whites or whatever?
See, I don't say it just happened to be. I used to say it just happened to be until I started researching and finding out that when this happens, it's exponentially out of proportion. And that's the only reason I could write the book, because there's an enormous amount of videotape now. And so, were they targeting white people? Sometimes that's the way it works. Sometimes they target Asians, sometimes gay people, sometimes old people, sometimes young people, sometimes other black people. So it's sometimes the mobs are small, sometimes they're big. But there's always one thing: the central organizing feature of much of this violence is that the people involved are black, exponentially out of proportion, many on video. And that's why I wrote the book, because too many people and newspaper business were way too invested in not talking about it.
Okay, well, our time is short, so just tell us where we can find your book and your other works, and what else do you have coming up next?
My book's easy to find. It's at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's at the Infowars.com store. I write for my stories primarily appear at WND.com. They also appear at Infowars, Front Page, American Thinker. Thomas Sowell just wrote a big column about it, my book, last week. Alan West posted it on his Facebook page saying, finally, a reporter who's tough enough to look at these stories. There's a lot of stories out there and nobody's talking about it. And the psychiatrists tell us we're only as sick as our secrets. There's a lot of sick things in this country masquerading as normal. That's what this book is about.
All right, Colin Flaherty, White Girl Bleed a Lot, thank you for your time, sir.
An honor to be here.
And you can pick up a copy of Colin's book, White Girl Bleed a Lot, at the InfoWars shop. So make sure you stop by there and check out our other great products as well. And also stop by prisonplanet.tv and get yourself a 15-day free trial. You can get the Alex Jones Show, the nightly news, the rants, the special reports. And don't forget, when Obama Deception 2 comes out, it will be right there on prisonplanet.tv as well. Well, I'm Jakari Jackson for the InfoWars Nightly News, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
Why is nascent iodine so important?
Nascent iodine is so important because it goes directly to the thyroid. It's not bonded to a salt, which means it doesn't have to be broken down, and it's the most usable form. It's what the body uses. It's what the body is designed to use. If you have low energy levels, if you have pains, if you have thyroid problems, if you don't feel up to par, well, they've proven now that the fluoride and a lack of iodine causes a decreased IQ, because you have all this stuff that builds up inside your system and builds up and builds up. And that's why some people, when they start taking iodine, will have what's called a Herxheimer reaction or a detoxification reaction. But that's a good sign. That means you're detoxifying all that fluoride buildup, the mercury buildup in there, the bromine buildup in your system, and the chlorine buildup in your system. You don't want those things. All of those things have been proven as carcinogens. That's one of the reasons prostate cancer is on the rise too, is because prostate takes up iodine, and the men that are lacking iodine causes the prostate to become cystic and causes the prostate to swell and eventually leads to prostate cancer. There's been an extreme rise in polycystic ovarian disease, PCOS, with women fibrocystic breast disease because iodine is stored in the breast tissue, the ovaries, the prostate glands in men. It's utilized by every single cell in the body.
Why does this almost taste good compared to other iodine that tastes horrible? That's because it's real iodine atomic form.
We wanted something that's going to go straight into the bloodstream and straight into the thyroid gland. We wanted to put it in a vegetable glycerin base. That's a USP kosher certified vegetable glycerin base. And that product is not tested on animals. It's vegan friendly. It's gluten free. It's GMO free.
Of all the things I've done, Nascent Iodine was just absolutely amazing. So we developed with Dr. Group a double strength, low price. InfoWarsLife.com, Survival Shield, the Atomic Nascent Iodine, available right now.